Good evening. How you doing? You must be saying, two videos in less than 24 hours? Please, for fuck's sake, get a life. I won't blame you for saying that, but this one is very important. This one is also about curves, because as of late I'm becoming too addicted to curves, as you can see here. Now, what is this? Is the following. This is a perfect loop of fireflies flying in a volume. Let me go to the timeline and show you that it is a perfect loop. Now, as you can see, it is looping and all that stuff, and they are disappearing accordingly. Like none of them is popping in and out of existence. No, actually, some of them are popping in and out of existence, but I'm gonna fix that in the next tutorial because, yeah, no, not in the next tutorial. In this tutorial, actually, I can fix it right now. Just go to the converter, color ramp, just like that, and set this to black. Yeah, amazing. This is amazing. Yeah, as you can see now, this now pay attention to this one. Yeah. It's going away, fading away. Now it's gone, just like that. And it's looping too, as you can see here. And they are all randomly popping in and out of existence. Like this one's more visible than this one and the other one. But as you can see that there's some sort of hashing going about here. That's because I had the alpha clip attached. Now, this doesn't matter. Let's go on with the video, with the tutorial. Let me check the audio. Hello? Okay. Now let's go to new general. Don't save. Now, now we need to pull out any shape that we want. Let's pull out a torus, any kind of shape we want to distribute these babies into. Major radius a bit more, and minor radius a lot more. Just something like this. Yeah, let's make these donuts, these fireflies flying in this donut. Now let's go to geometry node editor. Let's go over here. Grab on the X. Now you can do it with any shape you want. The previous one was just a bunch of metal balls randomly placed, as you can see, as you see. I mean, now let's go to mesh operations, mesh to volume. Yeah. Now this is looking good. Now we need to use a point, distribute points in volume, and we need to distribute the curves on which the actually can have it at grid, whatever the hell we want. Let's remake this a bit more or less resolution because I don't want to crash my PC doing this tutorial. This is the first take for it. I don't want to fuck it up already. Now let's go to instances. Instance on points, and the instance that we want is going to be an instance of type curve primitives, curve line, just like that. Okay, why aren't they aligning well? Ah, who gives a shit? Anyway, here they are, and we need to add the random rotation to all of this. We go to utilities, random value, pick out the vector, and then type in tau over here. Now, as I explained in the Autumn Leaves tutorials I made previously, is that tau is pi multiplied by 2. Pi is 180 degrees, and converted into degrees from flows into into what the fuck is it called again? Into radians. And then when you put tau in here, it becomes 360 degrees. So this is 360 degrees in all the axes. So as you can see, this is completely random. Now we need to make them a bit more going curly about. So we need to turn these into geometry. So we need to realize these instances in order to turn them into geometry. Now we need to go to curve operations and operations, resample curve, and let's add it, let's make it 20 points, just like that, to make it a bit more smooth when we displace them. And then we're going to write set position, just like that. And I'm going to make a noise texture setup for setting the position, the displacement. Don't worry, just a seizure. Anyway, I'm going to subtract minus 0.5 from it, add minus 0.5 from it, and then I'm going to create another one called scale right here. I'm gonna put it in here. And when I put it like this, as you can see, it's now displaced like that. And I need to lower the scale on this one to make it a bit more smooth and increase the scale to make them travel a bit more further along this curve. Now, We need these points themselves over here. So I'm going to grab this on the exhibit and then I'm going to do this and I want to pull it out and put in a set position node right here and go over here, set position. Now these are the curves, so we need to sample them. So we need to go curve, sample curve. Now this is what the sample curve does, as you can see here. It does the following. When you put position into here, it goes along this curve, one of the curves, as you can see here. Now these are all of our points. Let me go to West Code again. Vertical split, spreadsheet. Good. Now as you can see, there are all points in here, like this. Now these are like a lot of points. How many? Like 948. So we go from 0 to 947. So these are the points in which we instantiated the curves. So we have 948 curves. So we need to distribute each of these curves according to the mesh. So how are we supposed to do that? As you can see here, there's something called a curve index node. Where's the point? And when I set it differently, it's going to follow along a different curve amongst these curves. So when I go to 947, where the hell is 947? Yeah, as you can see, when I go to 947, it's going to follow along with the last curve. Now we know that this is the last curve because we instantiated, because these are the same points in which we instantiated the curves, as you can see here. So when I set this to 948, it's supposed to reset itself, I guess, or is it now at the middle? Now, yeah, it's now in the middle. Now this is the last curve amongst all these curves. So now we need to get the index of these points. So we don't have to do a capture attribute. We just need to go to read and add this into here. And as you can see, all these points are now falling along these curves, as you can see, which is very nice. Now, now this is all we need to do. This is the most difficult part. Now the other part that we need to get to, we just need some check the audio. Yeah, okay. There needs some brains to do it and some knowing of stuff about Blender. So we need to do what? Yeah. We need to instantiate some sort of thingy on it. We're going to need to go to instance on points, instantiate a bunch of icospheres on it. Because I like icospheres better than UV spheres. UV spheres suck ass. This is my honest opinion. And then we need to make them a lot more smaller than this. And what else do we need to do? What else do we need to do? Let's subdivide them. Good. Now we need what do we need? Now we need to set material. We need to go to material, set material. It's gonna be the default material that Blender always starts with in every new project. So I need to go to shader editor. Yeah, and then type in, just go to material, and then I'm going to rendered mode. And since these are going to be glowing in the dark, I'm going to make this black. And then I need to set this up. Now I need to go back to the shader, the spreadsheet, in order to show you some things. Now the first thing I want to show you is this. We need to go to attribute, capture attribute, and that attribute is going to be the factor of the curve on which it is positioned. So we need to go to curve, read, curve, spline parameter, and all that stuff. Now let's put this into the value socket and set this to instances, since these are only instances that we have here. And we put in here, as you can see. And when we give it a name, let's give it a name of the val, which is short for value if you're brain dead. And when we increase this, you're gonna see it's going up for all of them, just like that. Now let's go to the shader editor and call on this value over here. So let's go to the shader editor, and then I'm going to this tab over here and go down to this alpha and make it alpha hashed, even though alpha clip is a bit nice, but I don't care, I need the alpha hashed. Okay, good. Now, what else do I need to do? Yeah, I need to go to input attribute and then type in val. And afterwards, I need to put this into, I need to set the emission to be this high and then put this into here to emission strength. Now they're all black. Now when we pull this up, nothing's going to happen. Why? Because these are instances, not geometry. We need to go to instancer like that. And when we pull it up, yeah. Now as you can see, we don't want them to pop into existence and fade out at the same time. Or you need to have them with something called a random value. You need to set them to a random value. So I'm going to add this into here. I'm going to pull it out over here. I'm going to utilities, math, add. And now we can control them. But as you can see, some of them already have a very high value, which means they're not going to move much. Even though it is at zero, and when we drag it a bit, they all just stop. So we need to make them reset themselves each time they reach 1 and each time they reach 0. So when it reaches 0, it goes to 1, when it reaches 1, and it goes to 0. So we're going to do that using a fraction thing over here. And as you can see, they are now randomly moving. Now there's an issue, is that they are popping out immediately out of existence, as you can see here. So how we're supposed to fix that is very simple. We need to go to something called a color ramp converter, color ramp over here, and put another socket in here. Now when it is 0, it's black, and when it is 1, it's also black, but in the middle, it's going to be white, which means the full value, as you can see here. So when we add hash frame over 250, hash frame is the current frame, and 250 is the default amount of frames that Blender is at the current when it's a fresh new scene. You can change it up in here. You can go to the timeline and you can see that they are moving all that stuff. But when we play this, you now see that they are perfectly looping, as you can see here. A perfect loop. You see that? Isn't that nice? Now we need to put this also in the alpha, because if you have something in the background let's say you don't want the black object to be scale on the y0, and don't want the black object to be just randomly there. You need to put this into alpha here, and you also need to make sure that this material, that's golden material, has this alpha blend mode of alpha hashed. And you can also turn off the shadows if you don't want the fireflies themselves to have any shadows. Check the audio. Okay. Okay. Now this is it. You can go here to the emission, put this like that, something like greenish, yellowish, pinkish, anything you want, and make these a bit more smaller. Where's the goddamn icosphere? There it is. And let me make this like that and like that, and here we go, as you can see here. And we can also make the emission a bit more stronger by grabbing these on the X, and then go into converter, math, multiply, let's multiply it by 5. You can add some bloom to it by going over here and bloom, and just like that, got fireflies that are perfectly looping, as you can see here. Now this is the end of the tutorial. If you like this tutorial, thank you. If you didn't like this tutorial, actually if you like this tutorial, you need to subscribe, like and share it. Do all this stuff right now if you can. And if you didn't like this tutorial, then fuck off. Alright? Love you all. Except for anyone who didn't like this tutorial. C'est la vie. What do those frogs say? I forgot. Okay, goodbye.